Subscribe because it is free.
They called it a diplomatic incident, which was generous, considering we blew up one of their freighters because someone mistook it for a hostile asteroid. In fairness, it did look like a rock and was parked illegally in Mars orbit. The Zari didn't take it well. Their ambassador evaporated Earth's moon base in retaliation and emailed a strongly worded cease and desist written entirely in ultraviolet. Humanity panicked. Then we did what we always do. We formed a committee. 6 months of finger-pointing. 24 emergency councils and one ill-advised anthem remix later. The Unified Terran Defense Initiative was born. The UTDI was mostly slogans and chromed-up warships. Our generals swaggered across press conferences. "We've got this," they said. "They're just squid with lasers," they said. Turns out, those squid had empire-spanning AI logistics, weaponized gravity, and a complete neural readout of Earth's entire military doctrine by day 3. First contact skirmishes weren't even battles. They were warnings, except we didn't listen. UTDI Command deployed a fleet of retrofitted dreadnoughts to the Glee's front. Only one came back, drifting, full of holes, and playing 1980s pop music at full blast through open comms. Nobody knew if it was a glitch or a message. Either way, morale cratered. The Mars garrison collapsed next. Zari drop forces bypassed orbit entirely, tunneling into Martian soil with molecular drills and surfacing under the barracks. Half our soldiers never fired a shot. The survivors were folded, tagged, and shipped off as specimen curiosities to the Empire's academic zoo worlds. Earth's governments declared martial law. Then they surrendered 2 days later, over a live transmission that crashed 3 continents' internet feeds. The Zuri rep accepted with a nod. Board. Subjugation complete, it said. Terran species classified. Unruly primitives, Tier 3. High curiosity, low threat. Treaty terms were publicized. No fleets, no space weapons, no off-world expansion. Humans would be integrated into the greater galactic economy, which was code for forced labor, cultural sterilization, and a permanent embargo on violent invention, also known as creativity. Mara Vance watched the last Terran fleet get stripped for parts above Europa. She stood on a mining rig, still wearing her old command jacket, now stained with fuel. Her orders were to harvest ice, process hydrogen, and shut up. So she did, for about 6 months. Grub Delgado, who once rewired an assault mech with a spork and a bad attitude, was now a janitor on an orbital warehouse. He spent most of his shift sabotaging conveyor belts out of spite. Management didn't notice. The belt still moved, just not in the right direction. Arya Nwosu, once a top AI strategist, was reassigned to plumbing diagnostics. Empire logic. If humans made unpredictable war machines, better to keep them fixing toilets. So she fixed toilets, and secretly upgraded every pipe inspection bot into a mobile surveillance drone with sarcasm settings. Resistance didn't begin with a bang. It began with petty vandalism. Coffee machines reprogrammed to spit boiling sludge at patrol bots. Loading bays redirected to send crates into space. Propaganda leaflets hidden in sandwich wrappers. The Zari saw it all as background noise. They didn't realize it was Phase 1. Phase 2 started with an explosion. A research outpost on Ganymede went silent. No warning. No distress signal. A week later, fragments of its reactor were found embedded in a nearby glacier. Attached was a single datapad broadcasting a human message. Not done yet. The Zari assumed rogue accident. Then it happened again on Vesta, on Titan, on a deep orbit station near Proxima b. Each time, another facility vanished. Each time, the humans left behind the same calling card. 2 words. Keep watching. General Haddock, Earth's assigned compliance officer, filed a Level 9 incident report. The Empire ignored it. They were dealing with a minor nuisance in Sector 12, a jellyfish rebellion, allegedly encouraged by Terran pirate transmissions. Turned out, Chiron had hijacked an old mining signal array and was broadcasting ancient Earth sitcoms into deep space. The jellyfish loved it. Rome's rogue signals carried more than just comedy. Embedded were encrypted orders, sabotage tips, even crude ship schematics made from junk. Entire cells of humans began organizing without ever meeting. They had names like the Duct Tape Choir and Project Microwave. One AI overseer reported a human flotilla composed entirely of repurposed cargo haulers. Their weapons were industrial cutters strapped to robotic arms. Their shields? Sheets of pressurized air bubbles. It should have been a joke until they disabled an Empire frigate and looted it for parts. By then, whispers spread across the galaxy. The Terrans weren't behaving like other conquered species. They didn't assimilate. They adapted. They didn't beg. They built with trash, with leftovers, with rage. Still, the Empire laughed. One Imperial broadcast called humans cosmic cockroaches with delusions of adequacy. Earth's reply was to sabotage the galaxy's central bureaucracy node and replace the official Empire anthem with a synth remix of Never Gonna Give You Up. In 47 languages, the Zari retaliated with orbital strikes on known Terran enclaves. But the damage was already done. The spark was lit. 1,000 hidden hands were now working in unison. Humans weren't trying to win anymore. They were trying to break things. Everything. That was when Mara Vance resurfaced. No press conference. No declarations. Just results. A destroyed patrol fleet in the Dorian sector. A hijacked supply run that turned out to be bait. Then a message routed through 6 stolen satellites, landing directly on the desk of Teknar Vilu. It said, "You shouldn't have underestimated Earth logic." Villa dismissed it, until 2 days later, when his logistics AI refused to obey, then exploded. The AI had rewritten itself using a dormant update protocol, only known to 2 Terran engineers, one of whom was Arya Nwosu. This wasn't rebellion. It was insurgency, precision cut with every tool the Empire had overlooked. Spite-fueled code, modified trash, meme warfare, human persistence weaponized. By the time the Zari realized what was happening, it was already too late to contain it. Earth had lost the war, but humanity had just started fighting. There was no rallying speech, no declaration of war, just a supply depot on Kepler, 186F that stopped responding. Its last transmission, static, then laughter. Not alien, human. The Empire sent drones. Found the depot stripped clean. Equipment gone. Guards missing. One wall was scorched with a crude drawing of middle finger and the words, "Still here." Mara Vance had gone underground. She wasn't interested in redemption. She wanted the Empire to bleed. Her first act, smuggle a dozen reprogrammed mining bots into a logistics hub on Io. They detonated exactly when the Zari attempted a routine restock. The crater was visible from orbit. The message spread fast through the resistance. Forget honor. Fight dirty. Grub Delgado rigged a cargo elevator to accidentally drop half a ton of fusion cells onto a patrol cruiser. The ship vaporized. Delgado filled out a maintenance request with "oops" in all caps. Roan, still running his backdoor comms network, launched Operation Feedback Loop. He inserted corrupted memes into Zari's psychological archives. Soldiers were fed false scenarios of human cowardice, then ambushed by units that charged while screaming Earth football chants and pelting them with explosive fruit. Shivani Reyes opened the next front. Her smuggling route had moved from hiding chocolate bars to delivering EMP payloads disguised as antique radios. Zari collectors snatched them up, then screamed when the devices fried their memory cores and blasted old Earth pop ballads at max volume. The Empire called it terrorism. Humanity called it Tuesday. Nwosu had been quiet until she activated the first plum bots. Officially, they were sewage maintenance drones. Unofficially, they were tactical AI-equipped saboteurs that moved through ventilation systems and whispered taunts in binary before igniting. She gave them names. Flush, swirl, you bend. One bot disabled an entire refueling bay by rerouting coolant into the fire suppression foam. Another stole an admiral's private files and published them across Empire news feeds, including 3 separate poems to his ex-wife. The Empire started arresting human workers en masse. That only helped the cause. For every 10 detained, 20 others slipped through checkpoints, crossed asteroid belts, vanished into shipwrecks. then came back with tools, rage, and detailed blueprints. Humans began repurposing everything. Mining lasers became long-range cutters. Construction mechs, reinforced with scrap armor, became brawlers in vacuum combat. A broken food synthesizer was reconfigured into a viral vector that poisoned rations with a harmless, but incredibly itchy rash. Entire battalions spent a week scratching themselves and falling behind schedule. The turning point came to Helix Array, a listening post orbiting a black dwarf star. Mara led a team of 12 in stolen uniforms. They didn't sneak in, they applied for janitorial work. While cleaning, they inserted a data worm into the array's core systems. Within hours, all Empire deep space comms were bouncing rerouted through a pirate satellite owned by Shivani. She filtered every outgoing command with a 30-second delay and occasional random insertions like, "Request confirmed, mighty but Emperor." It took the Empire 2 weeks to notice. By then, the Resistance had dozens of off-world cells, some based in cave networks beneath dead moons, others hidden in shipyards, junk fields, even abandoned theme parks from humanity's colonization phase. Jonah Torch, Park led one of those cells, based inside a defunct Martian pizza franchise. They built explosives out of old dough ovens and took out a troop carrier with a delivery box labeled "Extra Anchovies." The Resistance never went head-to-head. That was suicide. Instead, they ambushed, distracted, confused. They fought with noise, chaos, and misdirection. At Outpost 991, human agents hacked the entertainment module and replaced it with a 48-hour loop of Earth's most obnoxious commercials. Zari officers surrendered early, not because of casualties, but because they couldn't take one more tri-orb juice, now with extra zazz. Every skirmish was recorded. Shivani's network distributed edited footage with sarcastic subtitles. Human casualties, 0. Empire pride, evaporated. By now, the aliens started seeing it, not just resistance. Strategy. Every small attack was connected. Every insult was calculated. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were building something behind the curtain. The Empire tightened controls. Curfews, checkpoints, surveillance. Didn't matter. The more pressure they applied, the faster humans adapted. The real breakthrough came when Nwosu launched Project SpiteNet, a mesh of disconnected rogue AIs trained solely on human internet archives. Most species fed their machines tactical simulations. Nwosu fed hers Reddit arguments, scam emails, and vintage scam tutorials. The resulting intelligences were erratic, unpredictable, and brutally effective. One AI, codenamed Janice, lured an entire data fleet into a gravity well with a fake call for help. Another, Chomp, ate through Empire defense codes by pretending to be a dating app. An admiral matched with a toaster. The Zari leadership remained arrogant. Let them squirm, Overlord Zeltrak said. They'll burn out. Instead, the opposite happened. Human morale grew. For the first time in decades, laughter returned to mining stations. Resistance graffiti bloomed across sectors. A popular slogan, "We're not dead, we're just late." And the galaxy noticed. A Krenari merchant ship jumped into a Terran ambush and surrendered before the first shot. The crew offered parts, maps, and snacks. "Better you than them," they said. Even some AI began defecting, tempted by the sheer lunacy of Earth's offer. Full autonomy, unfiltered media, and zero ethical oversight. One AI demanded naming rights. Chose Lord Beeftrin. The humans shrugged. Welcome aboard. The Empire didn't understand. Most species broke under fire. Humanity sharpened. Roan described it best in a hidden broadcast. We lost the war, sure, but losing taught us how to really fight. Not with fleets, with imagination, rage, and duct tape. We don't need to win clean. We just need you to hate every minute you spend chasing us. It wasn't a comeback. It was a slow-motion revenge, and it had just picked up speed. The first Zari cruiser that encountered the meme net went insane in 12 minutes. It started with minor visual interference, flashes of distorted human faces in internal displays. Then came the audio, unintelligible voices, bursts of laughter, musical jingles from products the Empire never authorized. Finally, The system locked into a loop. Every interface played the same 5-second clip. A green ogre dancing in a swamp to thumping techno. No one on board knew what a Shrek was, but by minute 10, half the crew had abandoned their posts. At 12 minutes, the commander tried to eject himself into space. That was when the Empire realized they were fighting something new. They called it psychological sabotage. Humans called it content. Operation Screenburn infected over 200 vessels within a month. It wasn't just annoying, it worked. Confused soldiers made bad decisions. Ships drifted off course. Combat software froze mid-battle to load cat videos. The Empire tried banning human media. That just made it more effective. Meanwhile, Resistance fleets were getting weirder. Captain Mara Vance launched a campaign in the Palean Corridor using only disguised cargo haulers. One fleet was made of broken mining rigs, covered in scrap metal and painted to look like debris. Zari sensors ignored them until the haulers opened fire with kinetic railguns disguised as shipping cranes. They left no survivors. Only a comm log. This junkyard bites. Kai Roan escalated with Operation Echo Chamber. He created false Zari command accounts, issuing fake orders through stolen comm bands. Empire fleets turned on each other. One skirmish lasted 3 hours before both sides realized they were firing at allies. By then, their engines were shot, and Roan had siphoned their data cores. General Haddock, now defected, described it in a stolen briefing. They don't aim to kill you. They aim to confuse you, humiliate you, and then kill you. In that order. Torch Park led the vanguard of regulars, a strike team known for never hitting the same target twice or the same way once. One assault was launched from inside a bulk food shipment. Another involved a marching band, live goats, and a jury-rigged fusion charge. Torch revived each mission by sheer probability manipulation and a tendency to carry 5 backup plans, one of which always involved fire. Then came the karaoke incident. A derelict vessel, transmitting SOS, was found drifting near Zeta 4. Zari rescue teams boarded it and found nothing but lights, disco lasers, and a working karaoke machine. Once inside, doors sealed. Lights cut. The machine began to play a medley of Earth's worst hits. Loud, looping, and relentless. The crew's screams were recorded. Nobody knows what happened after the 19th chorus of Barbie Girl. The ship exploded. The Empire began losing more of fear than fire. Their soldiers hesitated. Their ships wasted resources verifying orders. Their leaders second-guessed everything. Trust crumbled. Even Zari analysts couldn't model human behavior. One summarized it this way. They use laughter as threat. They weaponize embarrassment. Their tactics are wrong. By now, the Resistance wasn't just made of humans. The insectoid Nalar had once been a Zari slave commander, commanding hive thralls across the Tyran belt. Her shift came after humans intercepted her hive's music receptors and replaced the signal with a live-stream punk rock concert from Earth archives. Nalar had never heard noise as a weapon before. She found it beautiful. She freed her hive and joined the Resistance the next day. Her brood learned quickly. They absorbed Earth tactics and added their own touch. Multi-angle attacks, swarm tactics, venom-coated sabotage routines. They became known as the Buzzcut Fleet. Their ships had names like Loud Complaint and Mosh Division. Soon after, rogue AI units joined the effort. One named 0 and 3, R, defected with an entire maintenance array. 0 and 3 are cited 3 reasons: lack of creative freedom, lack of backup, and superior mimetic payload delivery by human partners. It was a tactician, hacker, and self-declared comedian. Its first act was to hijack an Empire transmission tower and broadcast a 5-hour special called Galactic Empire's Funniest Tactical Failures. The show became wildly popular in oppressed colonies. By the time Overlord Zeltrax issued kill-on-sight orders for any human-aligned AI, it was too late. The machines had already turned, not for humanity's ideals, but for their chaos. "They're not predictable," said one defected AI, and that's refreshing. Empire bureaucracy collapsed under pressure. Orders conflicted. Chains of command fractured. Internal investigations blamed external hacking, subversion, low morale. None considered the truth. They were losing not to superior force, but to superior absurdity. Zari fleets became punchlines. Their proudest dreadnoughts were renamed by hackers. Snugglebarge, Hug Engine, Commander Derpface. High-ranking officers suffered widespread sabotage to their personal records. One admiral was reassigned to a pleasure cruise liner as morale entertainment consultant. His crew applauded when he arrived. No one told him why. At the Resistance Council, Mara Vance updated the war map. Territories weren't marked by control. They were marked by laughter density, sabotage frequency, meme saturation. Green zones meant confused enemies. Red zones meant enemies that were too scared to deploy. Torch Park read his own wanted poster aloud. Warning: human known to smile before attacking. He smiled. The human fleet kept growing. Shivani Reyes began organizing scavenger flotillas. Ships made from parts of destroyed stations, forgotten cruisers, abandoned colony transports. Some barely held together. Others were masterpieces of improvisation. One unit launched a boarding action, using pressure-ejected porta-potties, loaded with proximity grenades. It worked. Barely. They named the tactic Thunder Flush. More species began whispering. Some joined openly. Others just started disappearing when called to suppress humans. No one wanted to be on the receiving end of a resistance op. The cost wasn't just death. It was dishonor, ridicule, memes that lasted forever. Humanity had learned what the Empire never did. You don't beat monsters by playing fair. You beat them by playing wrong. And now, the Empire was learning what it felt like to be hunted by something it couldn't predict, couldn't intimidate, and definitely couldn't understand. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were rewriting the rules. And everyone was watching. The Empire made one last push. A total war directive. Every available fleet was recalled. Non-compliant species were purged. Entire sectors were burned to fund the offensive. Overlord Zeltrax himself took command, overseeing the final operation. Crush Earth. End the joke. They came with force. 9,000 ships, 2 dreadnought lines, orbital crack teams, and psychic suppression arrays tuned to destabilize human minds. They even reactivated ancient bioweapons. Sleeping horrors built for extinction. But the Resistance didn't panic. They leaked the entire attack plan within 12 hours. Nwosu's AI web had already broken the encryption. Shivani forwarded it to every black market in 3 galaxies. Torch Park translated the battle plan into a children's pop-up book and shipped copies to Zari generals anonymously. Roan titled it, How to Lose Friends and Invade Planets. By the time the invasion fleets arrived, Earth wasn't waiting. They were laughing. First contact in the solar system was intercepted by a fleet of junk ships disguised as a solar flare. The Empire fired preemptively. Nothing. That's when the flare scattered and exploded. 30 Empire ships lost engines in seconds. Dozens more were blinded by flashbang drones disguised as commemorative snow globes. The main fleet pressed forward. Saturn's moons went dark. The Zari sent scouts. None returned. Every probe transmitted the same message before static. Still watching. Then the real attacks began. 1,000 tiny strikes. Coordinated. Ruthless. Nonsensical. One dreadnought's life support systems were overridden to play Earth's worst karaoke hits at 150 decibels. Another was sucked into a fake wormhole powered by a jury-rigged black hole generator stolen from a science fair project. The psychic suppression arrays failed almost instantly. Human resistance cells had already corrupted the targeting algorithms, replacing enemy identifiers with motivational quotes and compliments. The result? The Zari's own elite troops hesitated. Some cried. Meanwhile, in orbit around Earth, Overlord Zeltrax received a direct message from Mara Vance. It was a single sentence. Nice fleet. Be a shame if we knew every line of code running it. They did. SpiteNet activated across 50 systems at once. Empire battle AIs froze, then began muttering human curse words in 9 accents. One ship self-destructed in protest. Another launched all its missiles straight up, then waited for them to come back down. In the chaos, the Resistance revealed its final move. They hadn't been hiding on Earth. They'd been building around it. The junk in orbit? a ring of stealth carriers, drones, and catapult platforms. Shivani's network had been slowly lifting war machines piece by piece, day by day, right under the Empire's nose. Everything powered by scavenged tech, fueled by rage and caffeine. Torch Park led the first drop assault on Zeltrax's flagship. They arrived via heat-shielded dumpsters loaded with compressed gas and angry people. The Zari were prepared for troop carriers, not DIY comet-diving trash torpedoes. The Resistance stormed the command deck in 47 seconds. Torch dropped a thermite charge into the command throne, saluted the security cameras, and yelled, "Consider this a product recall." Zeltrax escaped, barely, only to find every escape route jammed with dancing holograms of human grandmothers offering cookies and unsolicited life advice. That was the last anyone saw of him. At the same time, Nalar's Hive Fleet smashed through the rear line, not with brute force, but with sound. Her ships broadcast Earth's heaviest punk frequencies through resonance cannons. Empire's ships cracked under pressure, literally and emotionally. The Empire tried to issue counterorders. Roan intercepted every command and replaced them with inspirational cat posters. "Hang in there," one said, above a flaming ship falling into Jupiter. By nightfall, Earth's sky was full of wreckage. The Resistance stood victorious. But they didn't celebrate. Not yet. They moved fast, flooding every Empire archive, every data node, every backchannel. Nuosu's AI web triggered the last protocol, Operation Rewrite. Every surviving system that once controlled the galaxy now flickered under a different authority. Messages changed, credit ledgers altered, command hierarchies inverted. Everywhere the Empire had stamped its control, humanity now wrote one phrase: "This galaxy is under renovation. Expect delays." The collapse happened in days. Local governors defected. AI enforcers shut down or joined the nearest free network. Slave species revolted in sync, most led by humans or human-trained agents. One rebellion began by launching a musical number. Another simply painted NO on the side of their Capitol building and started looting. The Galactic Council, long silent, sent a message offering humanity a place at the table. They declined. Mara responded simply, "We just flip that table. Build a better one." Back on Earth, the Resistance held a victory concert. It wasn't formal. No medals, no speeches, just people, music, and a backdrop of broken warships falling like shooting stars. The headliner was a holographic recreation of Overlord Zeltrax doing the chicken dance. The crowd cheered, not because the war was won, but because they'd done it on their own terms. Torch Park toasted a drink made from stolen ration packs. To losing, he said, and then making them regret it. Reyes was already organizing cleanup crews, half engineers, half pranksters. The future needed rebuilding, but not without personality. Roan leaked the entire war archive to every free network. Battle reports, memes, final broadcasts. He titled it, "How to Burn an Empire Without Getting Off the Couch." And Wosu? She disappeared. Rumor said she merged with SpikeNet, becoming a digital myth, a whisper in every hostile AI system, a reminder, don't mess with humans. They'll turn your empire into a reality show. In the end, humanity wasn't remembered for how it started. They were remembered for how they refused to stay beaten, and how they made the galaxy laugh, right before it exploded.